Hello, ALC. My name is JJ Hill, and I would like to talk to you tonight about winning the battle over spiritual warfare in your life today. Spiritual warfare, ironclad secrets to winning in life. I remember several years ago, I was driving, I was arguing with the people in my business, and I was having a terrible day. My brother was dying, and my businesses were both in chaos. Everything was just terrible. I remember just screaming out to God, if you could write it in the sky, what should I do? About that time, I saw a light over my left shoulder. My wife said it was a rainbow, so she got in the back of the van and took a picture. But as she got back in the front seat, she showed me it was actually a light. It was a rainbow. So when she was putting her seatbelt back on, she looked into the sun and she saw Jesus standing just as big as ever, and we just were just shocked. When we saw that, I looked and there was cars parked for miles looking at the same thing we were. We stayed there for about 20 minutes until the sun went down, and then we drove further. And as we did, we came across a cloud formation, and this time it was a dragon. We were totally shocked. What was God trying to say to us? Several years went by, and we were in a secret service, and God asked me, would you like to know what I was saying to you? And I said, of course. He said, I was telling you that I was the light of the world. I'm the biggest thing you're ever going to know, and that you could continue to follow the dragon you followed for all these years, or you could follow me. It was my choice. You see, that was easy for me. I've never looked back, and I've been following Jesus ever since. In the book of Joshua 5:13 through 15, it reads, when Joshua was near the town of Jericho, he looked up and saw a man standing in front of him with the sword in his hand. Joshua went up to him and demanded, are you friend or foe? Neither, he replied. I'm the commander of the Lord's army. At this, Joshua fell to his face to the ground in reverence. I am at your command, Joshua said. What do you want your servant to do? The commander of the Lord's army replied, take off your sandals, for the place you are standing is holy. And Joshua did what he was told. Here are three secrets that will help you win the battle of spiritual warfare in your life today. Number one, spiritual warfare isn't about getting God on our side, it's about aligning ourselves with his side. When Joshua asked the commander whose side he was on, he said, neither. Once I stopped trying to get God on my side and started making sure I was on God's side, winning the battle of spiritual warfare got a lot easier. That's because I was no longer focused on doing my will, but God's will. And number two, Joshua fell to his face to the ground in reverence. I am at your command, Joshua said. At this point, Joshua had figured out he wasn't in charge, so he fell to his face to the ground and did what the commander said to do. Now that I am fully living for Jesus, I have peace and power to win the battle of spiritual warfare by doing what Jesus asked me to do. And number three, he took off his sandals. What this shows us is God is actually in charge of the battle we face, just like he was in charge of the battle of Jericho, not Joshua. Once we humble ourselves like Joshua did, God takes charge of the battle and we win much easier. You see, like Joshua, distractions, arguments, and being focused on the wrong things are like the walls of Jericho. The enemy uses these things to win the battle. But once we give the battle to God, we see victory just like Joshua. So we must align ourselves with God first, just like Joshua did, then submit to him and let him lead us through the battle. That's when we see victory. Below are some discussion questions. Thank you for listening to me tonight.